Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? So as you know, throughout the year I'm doing book reviews every Monday on my YouTube channel, and today's book that I'm reviewing is called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And if you look through my channel, probably 2 or 3 years ago I did do a review of this book, but what it was based on is I listened to the audiobook, but you can't get the full audiobook on YouTube, so I literally listened to different chapters from the book. And I made a little bit of a review, but this time around I've actually got the copy, the hardback copy. I've read it, and what I want to do is a quick review of this book called The Four Agreements. So I'm just going to read you the back cover so you get an idea of what it's about. So it's a personal growth and a self-help book. It's had over a decade on the New York Times bestseller list, and it says, in The Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz reveals the source of self-limiting beliefs that rob us of joy and create needless suffering. It's based on ancient Toltec wisdom. The Four Agreements offers a powerful code of conduct that can rapidly transform our lives to a new experience of freedom, true happiness and love. So I gave the book 9.5 out of 10, and the reason I gave it that score is because I feel it's very clear and easy to understand. It's very insightful, very informative, and when I read it the first time around, when I heard the audiobook, I did implement some of these things. I've recommended it to clients, and I just feel it is a good self-help book. So it talks about the fact that when you were born, you had no choice over a lot of things. You didn't choose your moral values, you didn't choose your own name. As children, you didn't have the opportunity to choose your beliefs, but you agreed with the information because it was presented to you. So when your parents told you that to be a good boy or to be a good girl, you need to do this, you need to do that, or when they told you this is right or this is wrong, you agreed with it because you were a child, and your parents were the ones that passed those things on to you. So it says that children are domesticated the same way we domesticate a cat, a dog, or any other animal. So all he's saying with that really is that as a child, and this comes back to, I suppose, nurture nature, being in certain environments, the people that you're around as adults, we are influenced by that as a child because we don't have the thoughts and the capacity to think for ourselves. We're not developed, we're not independent at that stage. So it talks about just the idea of when you're told you're a good boy or a good girl, you do what your mum and dad want you to do. And then when you don't do what they want, then you're labelled as a bad girl or a bad boy. So the reward is the attention that you get from your parents or from others when you do what they want. And because the reward feels good, we keep doing it, and people keep rewarding us. So this goes on throughout your life, he says. So as children, we start off with wanting to please our parents, but then as we become adults, we want to please other people, or we want validation from others. So the rewards outweigh the fact of just being yourself. So it talks about freedom, and it says, are we really free? The answer is no. Freedom has to do with your human spirit, so you're only free really. The only freedom you have is the freedom to be who you really are. So he goes into depth about it, but it's true in a way. You don't have the freedom to do what you want to a certain degree. You can't go out there if you want and rob a shop and not have any consequences, or break the law. If you felt like, I don't want to follow the rule that says that we can only drive our car down this way, I'm going to drive it down the other way. Some people do it by accident, but if everyone decided that they were going to just do what they want when they're out in their car, or do what they want when they're out in the street, or everyone thought they were going to ignore certain rules, it just wouldn't happen. You'd either get arrested, someone would get killed, there'd be consequences. So the freedom that we have is just the freedom to be ourselves, and that is a massive freedom, is what he's trying to say. And we should build on that. We should say at all times we should be ourselves, because that is the freedom that we have, that we can have control over. So I'm just going to read one of the quotes from the book, which talks about, we form an image of what perfection is in order to try to be good enough. We create an image of how we should be in order to be accepted by everyone. So as I was saying earlier, we especially try to please the people who love us, like our mum, our dad, our brothers, our sisters, our teachers, because when we're trying to be good enough for them, we create an image of perfection, but we don't fit this image. We create this image, but this image is not real because we're never going to be perfect. So what he's trying to say is we're trying to aim for something which doesn't exist, but we still continue as human beings to do it. And that's the only thing that makes people feel not good enough. Because I've heard that term a lot. It's a term that's used by clients that I work with. It's a term that's used, I've seen it on TV. There was someone on Dragon's Den recently, Dragon's Den's TV program in the UK. You've got Shark Tank, it's similar to that in America, where the person was just saying, I don't feel good enough. And there was no evidence for that because she's on Dragon's Den, she's presenting a product. She actually got a deal as well. And there's nothing within every step of her journey that would lead like someone to feel that she's not good enough. But as this book is saying, it's always because you're measuring yourself against things throughout your life that maybe other people have implanted. I don't even think that's a word. Because what are you measuring yourself against? What are you not good enough for? Or what are you not good enough in comparison to? If you were to just measure it against yourself, then there wouldn't be an issue, because good enough doesn't even the phrase good enough for what, or good or bad, or it's about the definition basically. So what he says is that death, dying is not our biggest fear. The biggest fear that we have is taking the risk to be alive and to express who we really are. There's more consequences to being yourself and to living your life in a free way where you express who you are, where you, if there's an opinion you want to share, you share it. If there's a way that you want to dress, to be, to act, then you just do it. You get called weird, you get called quirky, you get called eccentric, you get called odd, you get told you're too opinionated, you get told that you're too masculine for a woman, you get told you're too feminine for a man, you get told why you wearing your hair like that, why you your hair's too long for a guy, why are you wearing makeup, why are you not natural with your hair. Society puts you back in the box. So what people tend to do there is they're fearful of being not accepted. They want everyone to like them. They want validation. The minute you decide that validation from another person, especially a stranger, is not relevant or important, you're free, because you then can be yourself, and you can, so it doesn't matter. I mean, for me, my family can give me their opinion. Of course, I care what they think. They're my family. I'm not going to be like naive. But I don't care enough to say that I wouldn't do what I needed to do. If I needed to make a decision and it was a decision based on what I wanted, no one can talk me out of that decision. No one can persuade me that I'm not going to do it, because my opinion and what I feel is best for me will always come first. What I want to do, if it feels best for me, is the decision I'm going to make. So we need to have that level of freedom where we just say, of course people are not going to understand. Of course people are not going to accept, me for who I am. Not me, but I'm just saying in general. Of course people are not going to get it, but still do it anyway. And I love to see that. I love to see unique individuals who know that maybe society is going to label them in a certain way, but they're going to do it anyway. They're going to have the freedom to be themselves. So the 4 agreements in the book are: be impeccable with your word, which is the most important and the most difficult one to honour. Avoid gossip. Avoid harsh words. Tell yourself how wonderful you are. If you love yourself, you will express that love in interactions with others. So it's all about making a decision that you are going to be careful about what you say. You're going to be respectful. You're going to communicate things in a way that people understand. You're going to be in control of what you're... Not in control where it's conceited, but you're not just going to be someone that says, I've got no filter, I just say whatever I feel. Or you're not going to be hurtful on purpose. You're not going to be someone that just communicates in a way that is very destructive. So that's the first one. The second one, don't take anything personally. So it says when someone says something, it's about them, it's not about you. Don't believe everything people say, whether they say something positive or negative. It's just their opinion. You don't have to eat their emotional garbage. So there's a quote in the book, if I get to the right page, where he says, Don't take anything personally, because by taking things personally, you set yourself up to suffer for nothing. Humans are addicted to suffering at different levels and to different degrees, and we support each other in maintaining these addictions. So if you're around lots of negative people and all they're ever doing is complaining and being miserable and talking about how the weather is bad all the time and how they can't do anything and how they've got all these aches and pains and how life isn't like it used to be and how all the energy crisis and how they've never got any money and how what's the point in being alive and all of this stuff, then you're just going to be in that mindset with that person. Now you could decide that you want to use different words that will uplift, that will energize, that will add to the conversation, which will take it to a different level. So that's where you're making that decision to use your, your judgment to say that, I'm not going to engage in this kind of discussion because it's not of benefit to me, but also it's not of benefit to the people. So the third agreement is don't make assumptions. We have the tendency to make assumptions about everything. We make assumptions about what other people are doing or thinking. We take it personally. We create a lot of emotional poison just by making assumptions. The key thing with this one is just ask questions. So it's saying if you're in a situation where you're walking down the street and normally someone says hello to you, there's a few examples he puts in the book, but then on a particular day, you say hello and that person ignores you. Rather than just assuming, I've done something wrong. Why are they not talking to me? What's happened there? Oh, it must be because of me. I must have all these other stuff that you could be saying, all these stories going off into fantasy land. Just ask a question or just assume. If you do make assumptions, sometimes it's better to assume the best than the worst. But he's saying don't assume anything at all. So maybe just leave it as it is, because you don't know what's going on with that person. So rather than you assuming that it's to do with you, so that goes back to the second one, don't take anything personally. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe that person didn't even see you in the first place. Maybe they've got so much on their mind that they're a bit distracted. So instead of assuming the worst or going off into fantasy land, sometimes ask the question or let it go. And the fourth and final agreement is to always do your best. So this one allows the other three to become deeply ingrained habits. So under any circumstance, always do your best. Don't do more, don't do less. Just do your best. It doesn't matter if you're sick or tired. If you do your best, there's no way you can judge yourself. Doing your best, you're going to live your productive life. You're going to live an intense life, and you're going to be good to yourself. So I agree with that one. I agree with all the agreements that he says, because the whole basis of the book is for you as a person to say you have control over what you decide, of the type of person you want to be. If you want to be a person with integrity, who communicates how they're feeling, who doesn't jump to conclusions, who doesn't react to things all the time, taking things personally, making assumptions, you have to work on being that type of person. And that's what I really like about the book, I'd say, is that it's clear, it's it goes in deep as well. There's more deeper things to the book than what I've just said in the little review that I've done, but I would recommend it. So I gave it 9.5 out of 10. I think it is one of those self-development books that you can keep going back to, that you can keep learning different things from. And it changed my view on just communication and also making assumptions, and just on this idea of always doing your best, which I agree with anyway. It doesn't matter what situation I'm in. I don't see the point of I'm not going to use a certain language. I don't see the point of doing things on to a mediocre or average level. If you're going to do something, then do the best at it. It doesn't matter what that is. I don't see the point in just saying, well, I'll just put 50% in. That's not sort of part of how I do things. But let me know what you guys think. Have you read the book? If you have, then let me know. Leave your comments. Also, if you're interested in these books, by the way, I'm not affiliated with Amazon or anything like that. I don't get paid to do these book reviews. I don't know the authors personally. I just enjoy reading and I get a lot of knowledge from them. So I just recommend the books based on what I think. But let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.